Welcome to the Iron Table, where iron sharpens iron, so should men sharpen men. I am your host, Brian Godine, and I'm joined by my brothers Keith, Danny, and Steve. We're your waiters, bringing you truth with a side of humor, loaded with accountability and thought. We now bring you to our program, already in progress. Just hold on. We're coming. Good evening. Good evening. It's the Iron Table. Iron sharpens iron, so should men sharpen men. We are at season 6. Wow. Let's see. See how long Keith and I started this. I guess has it been 6 years or just 6 seasons? I can't remember, but Steve has been with us the last 2 full seasons. Now with season 3, and Danny has been there since what is it? At least season 2, consistently. So we've been fortunate to get going. Before we get into what everyone's been doing, of course, we got some housekeeping items. Iron Table doesn't own the rights to any music used during its segments. We appreciate the talents and crafts of musicians and only use their music to honor their gifts. If you want to do something for us, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. We aren't too proud to beg in the morning or at night or really anytime. We are some beggars. We are like those 90s R&B groups out in the middle of the desert with vests on and a piano, begging for y'all to like and subscribe. At least I am. I guess the other ones, they don't subscribe to that. So you can also find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and YouTube, which you're probably watching right now. Just continue to search for the Iron Table. And for those who only listen to us audibly, you can find us at irontable.buzzsprouts.com. All right, so today is MLK Day, and by the time I post this, it'll be the day after MLK Day. So happy MLK Day while we still have it. Fellas, what's been going on? All right, I guess nothing's been going on. Okay, I'll start. I will start because since Happy New Year. Back to work. Played basketball last Thursday for the first time since the Iron Table funded a team. Felt good that day because I lost 20 pounds. Felt bad the next day because this replacement hip was on fire. I'm now recovering where I can lift my leg up above maybe 6 inches so I can walk up the steps normally. But I'll be back at it next Thursday or this Thursday coming up just to continue to be active, continue to have fun. Outside of that, just been chilling, happy, thankful, and all those things above.
Yeah, man, I'm just excited to be alive in this crazy world that we live in. There's no shortage of adventure, whether they're meant to be a diversion, a distraction, but it's just like I can't keep up. Usually I don't try. Every now and then I glance, I'm like, whoa, wow, this is interesting. 3 whole years to go. That's all right. Let's go.
Wow. Shoot. Nothing. Just again, same old, trying to keep up with the world. Like Danny said, it's no short of surprises every day. You wake up to something new, and that's before you turn on the TV or pick up your phone. I know, like a lot of us, families, friends, pets, just jobs. There's always something going on. So, I know a lot of us are just trying to keep our head above water, making a way when we can.
Speaking of water, I've been drinking this new clear stuff called water.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I don't
Here,
believe
watch
either.
this.
Wow.
Refreshing. Gotta stay healthy out there, people. Keep those kidneys hydrated.
Okay, I guess somebody wants their kidneys after all.
All right. Right. You're not trying to die no more. That's good.
Nah. All right, brother Steve, out in them streets.
You hear me?
Oh, we can hear you.
Can you? Okay. Oh no, everything's been cool, man. Just house woes and just going through that, but definitely have to look at certain things from a certain perspective of certain things go wrong in the house, but at least God has blessed us to be able to afford to pay for things too. So everything's been going pretty good. So everything's chill.
Okay. Oh, fellas, I forgot to tell you, there was something special for the advancement of colored people that happened near the end of the month. I was on a flight headed back home from a cruise in Florida. We took a young guy in Florida. I can say that now because I'm back, which means those who are watching this can't break into my house. So on the way back, we flew Southwest, and Southwest is known to have open seating. So a family goes forward. So anybody who has young kids know that you can get in earlier with family boarding, but your kids need to be under a certain age for both parents. If it's above 6, you get one parent. So I send my wife and my son forward. I am in group C. That's usually means that I'll just find what available seating. I tell my family, hey, if you have a seat, find a seat, save me a seat. If not, that's fine. The main thing is that y'all are sitting together. Well, this lady who was in front of me, she looks back a couple of times and says, hey, why don't y'all come up front? Y'all are with me. And I'm looking and I'm like, okay, I'm going to let this go. She says it again, and 3 people begin to stick their head out. I was like, do I tell her? Do I not? And I was like, this is one of those moments that Reverend Abernathy and Dr. King would have said, you got to say something. I was within my rights. So I told the lady, I said, ma'am, it's great for you. I get it. You want to be with your family, but it would be better for you to go back to them than for you to have them skip me and the countless other people that are behind me just to get a seat. She was like, well, I'm a mother. I was like, I'm a father. And I get it. My wife is with my son right now, and they were able to get on. But I want to sit with them. I was like, we all want to be able to sit with our family, but this is the luck of the draw that we have. This is not about privilege or anything. This is about what is right. And so she stopped. And of course, there was some other people that had the same skin color as she had and was congratulating me and saying, oh, man, that was right. You should have. I was like, that was a moment in history. I was more concerned about the number than the skin color or anything. So when you stand on the side of truth and correctness, you can stand sure. So feel free, anybody, to calmly just express reality and truth, and you should be able to be okay. I just wanted to share that, given that it's MLK Day. All right. So today we're going to keep this light, keep this short. Since it's New Year, we didn't have a New Year's Eve recording or podcast. And we don't believe in New Year's resolutions because I think in a couple of days is National Quitting Day. I think it's January 22nd, what we learned from one of our podcasts in the past where people just quit. I'm going to keep this light. So what is some of the bad advice you've received regarding relationships and life in general?
Happy wife, happy life.
Niggas gonna start there.
I mean, he just started to just pew, 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 pew. Why do you say that?
Great question. Yeah, it superimposes that if you as a man focus on making your wife happy, that automatically that your life will be happy. And let's just say this. Somebody said, like, yeah, I got bronchitis. I quickly found out that, and this is not just a reflection of a personal experience that I've had, but it includes, but is not limited to, all the little Johnnies that are out there, and the men who I have, that many of them grew up without fathers, and so we bought into this lie that if you focus on making this woman who's your wife happy, that she's going to actually be happy, and that'll result in you having a happier state of existence. And I've just come to learn that you can do everything in your power. You can have all the money in the world. You can have, like, you can shout. It's almost like Eve was placed in the garden by God himself with everything.
Wasn't Eve placed in the garden by God himself?
I'm just trying to tell you, bro. She had everything. What didn't she have?
Okay, I'm trying to see where you're going, because it was like, we've been going to the same
what-
church, the same school. Have you
Yeah.
changed?
No, haven't
No.
changed, bro. Just a different lens, a different perspective. All I'm trying to point out is that she had everything and it still wasn't enough. And I'm saying that in general, trying to make someone overly happy is not going to automatically reciprocate a similar experience upon you. If it needs to rhyme, somebody put it this way: happy house, happy spouse, happy house.
Yes, sir.
If
it must
it
rhyme.
needs to rhyme. Because there's so many guys that are out there that have bought this lie that their job is to go and make the woman happy, to make their wives happy. And what's interesting is that's not your job. That's not your responsibility. I'm not saying that you can't be a facilitator of good experiences. I'm not suggesting that we have no role to play in building a mutually fulfilling life. But a lot of us believe the lie that I've got to make her happy. And there's no better way to ruin your life, her life, and everybody's life than trying to make somebody who, for whatever reason, may not have the
Capacity, ability,
their
Bandwidth.
Yes, there we go. Thank you.
Fortitude.
Help a brother out. Don't leave me out here. Don't act like I'm crazy. Don't act like y'all.
Common sense. Common sense.
Yeah, bro. I'm just telling you. So that was probably some of the dumbest advice that no one shoved down my throat. We just heard it, so we assumed that it was right. And then when you go about trying to, all right, my job is to make this person happy. I just know way too many guys who tried that and it didn't work.
So let me ask you this, because you mentioned like the guys you grew up upbringing, and most of us know about like either single moms, or even if both parents were home, one parent was the primary doing much, and you really didn't see that interaction. Is the same thing for those people that that came from a two-parent household where their parents are still together? Do you think that they also subscribe? Do you have any cases where of someone that had that same issue, where they believe that if I just pour all that I have, everything, into trying to make my spouse happy, that it's going to make things right?
Great.
I know you
question.
heard like most of us single parents, but what about for those who had both parents?
Yeah. So that's a great question. How I would respond to that would be to say that it's not just restricted to those who had a one-parent household. You got to remember, we were all raised on 90s R&B.
Yeah, that's that good stuff.
It all depends on your perspective, because
you are not ruining them again.
To some extent,
to some extent.
Let's just be honest. We were fed these lies that we needed to posture and position ourselves in a way that was going to facilitate somebody else's happiness. That was our job. That was our role. And I'm not saying that we are not a very integral part into developing a mutually fulfilling relationship. I'm saying that your happiness is an inside job. And when we get bamboozled into thinking that I can do something to make you happy, not even God operates in that realm. And so I'm saying that because of our cultural immersion into these belief systems that didn't necessarily have a biblical base or even common sense. It's like, I can't make you happy. Like, no one can do that. That's something that has to be an inside job. In order for us to have healthy relationships, the best thing we can do is to be healthy individuals, because it takes two healthy individuals to make a healthy relationship. If you got one person who is discontent, like Eve, who was in the Garden of Eden, I don't know if there's anything that can be done to make them happy.
So when you say two healthy individuals, do they both have to be healthy in the same area, or can one be healthy, say financially, and the other one be healthy, maybe spiritually, and they're, infusing the other person with that, those say antibodies?
Yeah,
So we're talking about healthy, and to bring that person up.
I think we're all on a journey of becoming more healthy. So Keith has this great analogy. One day it's going to be in a book, baggage claim. And so, y'all need to just send them DMs, because it's good stuff and it can change your life. But the reality is, we all have baggage, right? Everybody's got baggage. Nobody is this state of complete healing and wholeness. We're on a journey. But if we can get the two big duffel bags down to a backpack and a little carry-on, then that'll be more ideal for us to be able to manage our movements with another imperfect person while we're fusing our lives together, because there's no such thing as happily ever after. That just doesn't exist. And that it's probably the biggest lie ever told. It belongs in the realm of unicorns, fairies, and leprechauns. They don't exist, do they?
All right,
No.
so you're gonna have to break down the happy ever after, because there's going to be some people watching this is going to be like, wait a minute, are you saying that marriages end in divorce? Or what does happy ever after, like, what is the equivalent, or what is it that's close to happy ever after?
Yeah, so I don't get it twisted. I absolutely believe that love can last a lifetime, and it should. It can. When you have the individuals who understand that each of us, we're flawed at our core, and in order for us to be equipped with the tools to make a relationship work well, understanding that at the gate, it makes it a lot more palatable, because there's going to be an adjustment when you discover just how imperfect the person who you thought was as close to perfect as you could find in a spouse. The more you go through marriage, what you usually find out is those character deficiencies you used to think were cute now have a magnifying glass in front of them. They don't disappear, they don't go away. Okay, and those things can if you're not careful, provide some unique challenges. And I would just quote from Dr. John Gottman, who's the foremost researcher in the relationship space. He points out that, you know, every relationship is imperfect, and the vast majority of problems that married people have, they're not solvable. You're going to continue to have these problems. There's no such thing as happily ever after, but you absolutely can help. You can make a relationship work. There are certain strategies, certain tools, there's mindsets, skill sets, tool sets, and help. Just going to get help. Third party, not when, not if, when you're not making progress in your relationship over time. I believe that love should last a lifetime and can. It's just not the happiness jackpot, because people are out here thinking, oh, happy forever after, sign me up. Like, where's my happiness? No, it'll make you holy, because God will show you yourself. You thought you was generous. You thought you was giving. You thought that you were forgiving.
Let's take an offering for this man. Come on.
Okay, so if it's not solvable, is it at least manageable?
It was both you and Keith talking at the same time. What'd you say?
What'd you say?
Well, I was just saying that, okay, if it's not solvable, is it at least manageable where you can manage?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. We don't want to just tell people, you know, that there's no hope. Manageable. Managing is hope.
Absolutely hope. There's hope. But that hope isn't in happily ever after. That's a daggone lie.
Okay. All right. Just
happily ever after, that belongs again in the realm of unicorns, fairies, and leprechauns. That nobody has or will ever have. That if they said they do, 1 John 1:8 says that they a lie.
And the truth be not in them.
Steve, you didn't miss much, because if you heard,
he missed all of that.
You would have chimed in.
Wait a minute, I gotta chime in now. What'd he say?
He said that happily ever after is a lie.
Lie? Yep, right. That's right.
Thank you, Steve.
That's right.
No, he's
nothing
right.
is
He said it wrong.
Nothing
is what?
Like, you can't solve anything in marriage.
I didn't say
not
that.
everything. Not everything.
Not everything is solvable in marriage.
I said
it's all. It's just a bunch of compromises. It's just a bunch of compromises. That's all it is. Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah,
some of those compromises are lifelong. You know who John Gottman is, Brian?
No.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. It'll be a really great science experiment for you to just dive. This guy, just to give you a brief snapshot, he can listen to somebody a couple talk for like 2 minutes and predict whether they're going to be divorced with over 90% accuracy. He can watch a nonverbal video of a couple interacting like through a glass, and he can tell you with over 90% accuracy if they're going to be divorced. It sounds crazy. It sounds like, man, nah, I didn't believe it either. But he can. He had a love lab, and he just studied it for decades. He's just studied, and certain patterns emerged. And
love
those
lab.
patterns.
What'd you say? Looking through the window. That's some peeping Tom type stuff.
No. They come to the love lab, but to be researched, and he's been able to just observe, scientifically speaking, certain patterns that emerge that will determine a couple's success and or failure in the context of a romantic relationship. To the point that as I look back reading his material, it's just like, oh man, I wish I'd have known that before. That might have been
send me his stuff.
What?
What'd you say, Steve?
Oh, I said he gonna have to send me his information, because I need to see this.
Oh yeah, I didn't see
it might make me mad.
Oh yeah. It absolutely will.
You gonna want to, but you gonna want to use it. I signed up for one of his, because he also offers. When I work with, I signed up for a discount to refer couples to their camp or for their service. There I
Oh,
am. He
okay.
has all kinds of assessments. So yeah, I'll send you his information. But he has a lot of research. He has a lot of information, but I do kind of feel him though. Sometimes now when I'm getting certain couples, I can look at. I'm not a prophet, but I see enough things, enough times to be able to know this don't look too good.
We're done.
Not saying you can't, but if y'all not gonna try,
All right. For those who are just now tuning in, what is some of the bad advice you perceive regarding relationships and life in general? You heard from Danny that happy wife, happy life is a bold-faced lie
from
from society.
from the pit of hell, along it belongs with what? Unicorns.
Oh yeah, unicorns and fairies and pixie dust, right? Something like that.
Something like that.
All right.
Oh,
Jones, Steve, which one? Yeah.
I'll jump in. Bad advice. One, for me, they kind of go together, but it's okay to make money. Like again, we grew up in the age where like you preparing to go to heaven, so you're not supposed to be focused on your future here on this earth. So we weren't really told. Our parents weren't told. A lot of our parents were not told to focus. What if God don't come right now? Like so.
Yeah.
We did not even with our education, we did not pursue education. Well, no, I say we did. I think we did a better job. But I know like we shied away from building, and I get it. We're not building on things that are corrupted or things that can be taken away.
Yeah.
But I don't think we were taught to build at all financially.
I
So
agree.
for a lot of us, we were late bloomers trying to figure this thing out. But also, I've been having this conversation with a lot of men between confidence and arrogance, and it boils down to self-esteem. So being able to celebrate I'll put it this way: if it's the truth, is it bragging? If you say I'm good at basketball, but you actually are good, is that bragging?
Only to those who aren't.
Right. So when you have people in this world who have made some achievements in this world, a lot of them had to mute their abilities and their experiences because you didn't want to make the others around you feel less than, but that did a lot of damage on those who wanted to do more, if that makes sense.
It does, because I think in the environment that we grew up in, at least me and Keith and Danny, we were told humility, and we weren't told what humility really was. We were told humility was a person that did not boast, and boasting, we looked at any time we acknowledged how good we were or any success that we might have had, because that isn't what a humble person would do. A humble person would sit in the back and just be quiet. That's what we were told.
And there's a time and place for everything under the sun. But my issue is there are a lot of people, especially I'm seeing a lot of young people, when they are excited that they are learning something and they feel like I'm really good at this. There's somebody who's quick to step on their neck to tell them how much they suck. You know, you're not. You're not Michael Jordan. Like nobody's Michael Jordan.
Exactly.
So some bad advice I feel like I've gotten over the years was just a false narrative of what it meant to have esteem, to have confidence, to be able to stand on it and not feel like I lack humility. And again, like I said, and even when it comes to financial growth and decisions, exploring the options of financial stability isn't wrong. It's what's kept the churches alive. Going back, because this ties into my real issue. As Goodine already knows, I ain't trying to get us canceled, but look, I think the money should stay at the church, at the home level. And because the way it's set up, the bulk of it goes away, and the way our churches are set up. And he knows. I feel like now that I know more about how finances work, I'm not opposed to giving to the church and giving to the needy. But when the church says, bring ye all the tithe into the storehouse, I think that's great. But when the people who were laid off and didn't have food or didn't have money over this last holiday, they should have been able to come to the storehouse and say, hey, I've been giving to this church for the last 30 years. I need help. My light bill. My car note is due. And the storehouse don't have nothing because it has sent money elsewhere. So I feel like it's time to sit down and have a real conversation about doing things in a way that really supports the growth of everyone. I'll put it that way.
If I'll just jump in and say that that's only the churches that we, not only, but for a large part of the churches we grew up in. But for instance, like we grew up at DuPont, right? I went to DuPont for a service on Sunday because the church up the street is renting it out. And that man, during the government shutdown, like from the pulpit, it was like, what y'all need. Now, don't come over here. He did say this. Don't, if you have not been faithful.
And we know.
Don't come up in here. But if anybody has a need, we got you. This is the channels. This is where you go. This is what. And it was to the point that somebody had a need. Well, so they knew somebody got laid off. They gave them money, and those people gave it back. Wow. They're like, Pastor, no, we good. We good. Wow. That can go for somebody else.
Wow.
But they had that. This is right up in the church that we grew up in, just on a different day that this happened.
I mean, going to New Macedonia Baptist.
Yeah, New Macedonia. Mm-hmm.
We can say it here.
Patrick Walker
Jones
Senior
has already canceled this.
Nah, that's not no cancel. That ain't nothing new. I've been doing that for 25 years.
Yeah, I know.
I keep it local.
It's not a new concept, but you do get a lot of flack from some of the people who've done it traditionally.
For our church, I've worked for every arm of it. The regional, the non-regional, the international. I understand it. I do. And there's a better way.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. There is, and that's what I'm saying. So as a kid, we were taught that this way is the best way, and don't question our system. But this, like with anything else, whether it's secular or religious, all systems, we get to see how flawed they are.
Mm-hmm. And I've worked for a bunch of other systems as well. And I've seen there's merit in other structures that
absolutely.
So. Okay. All right, Steve. You say something? Oh,
we can't hear Steve.
All right, so I'll go. It's on the realms of relationship.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, now we can hear you. Go on, Steve.
Okay. I don't know why I keep on having to.
It's really low though, Steve. Your volume. You have to like talk to us, bro.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, talk as loud as you can.
Okay.
But also look at the road.
And they be all right.
No.
So this is I'm gonna take it a step further and say not only some bad advice that I've gotten, but just some conversations that I've gotten when it comes to relationship. First and foremost, I think one of the bad advices I've gotten is just what has been just get married. And I'm gonna take it further and just say, I think that first and foremost, if you're not married yourself and you're going through relationship woes, you shouldn't ask nobody else when they get married to somebody else that's in a good relationship. And second of all, you only got one time to ask me this. That's it. I think it should only be one time. And here's the thing is that I think a lot of times a lot of people rush into getting married when sometimes you have to also not only get to know the other person, but get to know where you're at at that point in your life. And a lot of times we rush into things because everybody else is telling us what to do. That should be telling us what to do, and we haven't even found out what it is that we need out of this relationship or what we can give in this relationship. So I think a lot of times people just say, oh, just get married. No, I'm a firm believer back in my philosophy of I wish it was something about, well, hey, if you get married and you get a divorce, we take a finger. take a finger. The government takes a finger. Because if we were to think twice before getting married and thinking that there's a severe consequence, I bet you a lot of people wouldn't go through those woes of, oh, you know what, maybe I need to think twice. Am I willing to risk a finger for this person? And if you are, go ahead, find out, see what happens. But I think for me, one of the things is just, just saying, just get married. Just because you're together, just get married. No. No, you don't just jump into things like that, and especially not only when you're trying to figure out the other person, but also trying to figure out yourself. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say take forever, but don't rush into things as well, and don't, again, I have a pet peeve about people telling other people when you get married, stop, because your track record shows that your past 3 marriages have not worked, so you shouldn't be telling me anything, sir or ma'am. So I guess that's it. For me, it's just the whole notion of somebody else kind of butting into the notion of marriage for another relationship. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, that was a whole $1 right there. Whole $1.
I'm just gonna throw one extra one in there, just for bonus. Like, it's better to marry than to burn. Or you gonna do both after you get married?
Yeah, you gonna be married and burned.
There you go. Oh my God. Oh, that's brilliant.
In the wrong situation, that is. That's not a reason. There's so many people who were just encouraged, like, that it solves life's problems. And marriage is a beautiful thing.
Does not solve life's problems.
Yes, it does not solve life's problems. And when you understand that, you're better prepared for how difficult it is. It's one of the most difficult things you'll ever do in your life. And there'll be many days that you wonder what. Go ahead.
No, and I'm just saying, a lot of people say, also give that notion of if somebody gets pregnant, you gotta marry her, you gotta marry her, you gotta get married. That's not gonna solve nothing. Because some of the problems that you guys were having when you had this kid, you're gonna still have them the day that you get married, unless you're working on things. So getting married doesn't solve anything. In fact, getting married amplifies things too. Resentment sets in. All these particular type of things are amplified when we get married, when we haven't solved some of these issues before we get married. So a lot of times people tell you, hey, if somebody get pregnant, oh, just get married. Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? Y'all was fighting before. Doesn't mean that that y'all need to get married just because y'all brought this kid into the world. And now this kid got to see y'all fight. Now, what we doing?
That part. Yeah. Well, I wish, at least in the environment that we grew up in, that they really explained what dating was, because it seemed like as soon as you started dating, that you were exclusive. And so you became exclusive. You was like, I can only deal with this one person, and learn to accept, like, who they just accept stuff that you probably wouldn't accept. But it was like, that's the whole package deal. So I wished I would have known. And then I probably would have dated multiple, not, I guess you could at the same time if it's dating. See, we were told that you can't date multiple people at the same time. That's wrong. That's sinning. But no, it was trying to get to know various people.
That's fun.
I will say with my wife, who will probably listen to this afterwards, we went out one time and that was it. I saw everything I needed on that day. I need y'all not to laugh. This is not a laugh track. So
you PC.
Next question. What's one thing you wish you knew then that you know now, and would you have actually listened to said advice?
No, this is where I think sometimes, well, it's been proven chemically when people are in love, their brains don't work right. So I feel like if I could take a time machine back to some of them people or young ladies that I was like, nah, man, don't leave her. Don't talk to that one. I would have gone to myself and said that, and I don't think I would have listened because
you were in love.
I was like 19, 18, 17, 18. Just or people that Yeah,
What
I would
if
like
they
to think,
showed you video proof of what your life was going to be like because of this decision?
but I would have said, but you don't see how, like, I would have, you see the curves on that? Like, you want me to not talk to her? Like, you see that one over there? You see how her hair blowing the wind? Like, you don't want me to, the young version of myself would have been, I don't know. I would hope I would listen, but I know how stupid young men and women can be at that age where they don't. And
You know
and as they get older, like we don't listen sometimes, and we see the writing on the wall, especially at that age. Especially at that age.
Okay.
So I don't know. I would say I would hope I would listen. I always have this debate with my own self. I've had this conversation in my own head, and I would like to think I would be convincing enough to say, "Don't go down that street. There's wolves down that street." But I know how dumb 18, 19-year-old young men are, 20, 21. I'm good. I got this. They're not going to bite me. So, yeah.
Okay. Well,
That's an interesting question.
It's just a little bit of crap. I can do that. It ain't going to bother me.
I'll go. Give y'all time to think. I know I just sprung this on you, but I've been thinking about this all day. The one thing that I wish I would have known now was that I was enough back then. And the reason why is because most of the decisions that I made in my life were made in trying to be and not feeling like that I was enough, that I was good enough, that I was that whatever I was doing was okay. Be it get a car. I had to get a certain car in order to look a certain way because I didn't feel like me in myself was enough. Certain jobs I had to go after because I was like, well, if I really like this job, but this job doesn't say that I'm enough. This job will fill in a hole that someone said that I had or what I felt in myself. So yeah, if I would go back and tell myself like, dude, you're enough. And I would keep saying it every day until, younger me would have been like, okay, because then I would make different moves. I wouldn't try to overextend myself because I'm like, I'm enough. I wouldn't enter in certain relationships in order to, or stay in relationships longer than I needed to be because it's like, I'm enough to be by myself. I didn't need to be with someone in order to feel whole. Would have been enough to maybe make different choices in the school that I went to. They would have left. I don't know. There could have been a lot of different choices. When I look back, a lot of major choices was like, no, you're not enough. And then when I realized that I was enough, I began to move differently. I began to react differently. Instead of reacting, I was thinking. Instead of being, I think that's where the emotional intelligence comes in. Where you're not just like, oh, I gotta fight, I gotta do all this other stuff, gotta cry, I gotta do all. I'm like, okay, that's what your view is of me. That's not it's not the voice that I hear in my head. The voice that I hear in my head is my voice, and that's the only one that matters. So that's what I wish I would have known back then, maybe even 18, maybe even 16, that I was enough.
Can you hear me good? Can you hear me good?
Yeah.
One thing that I've been kind of, I've had to reflect on in the last couple of years. Well, not couple of years, I'm sorry. In the last few years, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. When it came to getting out of a relationship, I had to reflect on how can I say this? Not how I approach people, but how approachable am I to receiving maybe constructive criticism? And I say that in the spirit of talking about relationships, because when I got out of a very toxic, a very emotionally abusive relationship, when I got out of it, I got really angry at a lot of people that were coming to me saying, oh my God, I'm so glad that you're done with her, X, Y, and Z. Oh, she was this, she was that. Y'all were no good together. We just, and I'm thinking like, at what point were you going to tell me that? You could have just told me this year 1 or 2 or whenever, and I got that from a lot of people, but I had to really think to myself, was I even approachable enough to be able to receive anything that needed to be said? So I took it as if, if anything that I learned is just like, in order to receive any type of constructive criticism, or like to be told like, hey, you need to stop doing this, or you need to do that, am I approachable enough to be able to be told that? Sometimes having a strong mind and strong will can be can serve you wrong too, when you are so strong-minded that can't nobody really tell you anything, and you got to bump your head. So that being in of itself kind of taught me a little bit, even just about myself. I always tell people, in every situation, what is God trying to tell you, not only about the situation, but what is he trying to tell you about yourself? And in that, it kind of told me about myself that I need to be maybe a little bit more approachable when it comes to people being able to give me constructive criticism. And I even take that into my relationship now, whereas I'm constantly asking, hey, what do you think I need to work on? What do you think I need to improve on? Making sure I watch my tone, making sure I watch my cadence and how I speak, and my overall mannerisms, whatever it may be. Because if I'm not able to take any feedback from anybody or anything like that, what would make me think I would even take feedback from myself? So just food for thought.
Steve dropping bombs over here.
I know, right?
From my angle,
Hey.
because of the way my light is set up, it almost looks, because Steve is in the background. I don't know. I was watching it. They have videos on the internet about the Black Panthers. All I can see is Steve with this big afro because it's black. It's like a Colin Kaepernick.
I see it. It looks like you got a big afro.
His Colin Kaepernick. Dropping knowledge.
I got that Yukon snow hat on. Now you can
pull his wig off.
What's one thing that I wish I'd have told myself back then? Probably to the power of vulnerability. I would have shared with myself just how powerful and life-changing vulnerability is. It's the greatest measure of courage. I spent most of my life avoiding vulnerability because, as a man, it was perceived as weakness. When in actuality, it's like the greatest measure of courage. When you think about it, God is vulnerable. There's never been a being in this universe more vulnerable than God. He puts a tree in the middle of the garden, knowing that it's like leaving a loaded gun next to the person going to shoot you. What? That don't make no sense. Grammatically incorrect on purpose. I know grammar. And knowing that vulnerability and speaking and talking about some of the struggles that I had as a person who didn't have the best snapshot of what being a man, what being a father, what being a husband would look like. Just having the confidence to be able to just talk freely, as I struggle trying to make my way through marriage, as I struggle with pornography, as I struggle with trying to figure things out financially, as I struggle with all of these things, you don't verbalize, you just hold it on the inside. I spent a good portion of my of the first part of my life just trying to figure out how to be something I had never seen, and that was difficult. And had I had the presence of mind to just verbalize where I was struggling, when I was struggling, what I was struggling with, I think that it would have resulted in not only my life being very different, but other people who were around me who were also struggling with this same concept. I think that we could have figured some stuff out a little faster.
All right, folks. We're reaching the 50-minute mark, so don't want to lose people. So any parting words, final thoughts. 10 minutes, we got to shut this down. And it may not even be on this topic. It might be wishes for this year, it might be something abstract that you just wanted to share. It's up to you.
Don't let people, social media, or anything like that influence you to make a decision that is lifelong. Go to God first with any of these things that you're wrestling with. Point blank.
On that note, I would just say, yeah, turn it off. It's stressing you out. Turn it off. It's making you like anxiety, depression. Turn it off. There are so many different studies, and now certain nations that have put legislation in place to prevent the negative impact of this incessant media blitz. It's a blitz on every down. You know, it will cause you to lose your righteous mind, have no joy, no peace, and to live on edge. I have to check myself as a grown behind man. It's just like, okay, yeah, let's just turn it off. Turn it off Tuesday. Start tomorrow. And understand that if you focus on what you can control, if you just do that, instead of being so preoccupied with everything else that's going on in the world, not that we shouldn't care, not that we shouldn't be proactive, not that we shouldn't be aware and involved like Dr. King on his day, but he was a difference maker. Like he wasn't sitting by wondering, I wish there was something. No, what can we do right now? Where can I make a difference right now? Live your life like that instead of in this victim mentality that is just so preoccupied with the things that you cannot control.
What we would do differently, or what we wish people did not tell us. I believe that from what I've seen and read, there are some things that God wants us to experience, and that is making mistakes. We learn grace, we learn acceptance, we learn what it's like to be on that other side where we feel things, that we experience things that are human that we don't experience when we feel like we never mess up. So the goal is to learn from that, though. I think there is a place that we get to where we forget that. And I try to show that same, now that I have kids, I'm trying to remember that before I I lose my own mind. But mistakes are meant to happen, but not forever. And repeating the same mistakes becomes habit. That becomes an issue. So no one is expecting perfection if we're realistic, but at the same time, learning from those mistakes will take us far, and it helps us to not come back and repeat the same stupid decisions that we fall into. That way, it gives us something else to focus on. So after we have prayed and after we have turned it off, we can go focus on our own personal growth and not fall into that lane of repeating the same cycle of stupidity over and over and over again, and then becoming mad with God and people around us because they were supposed to fix it for us when we saw the pattern ourselves. Sometimes, in some cases, we saw that the car I broke kept breaking down. I bought a. That ain't everybody's fault. Or even if they did play a role at some point when you were 18, 17, 20, you can say my parents didn't. But at 40, 50, 60, we in a different lane. And if you're still repeating some of those same habits, we got to start looking within. So That's my parting words. Learn from the mistakes. Find a different route. Take a different road. But we can't keep beating our head up against this same wall. Very definition of
True. I'll just close by saying the bravest thing a man can do is to study himself with honesty, forgive his flaws, and choose to grow. It is that honest ascent he discovers not only who he is, but how to love others with the gentleness and courage and respect that is needed. Um, as always, we here at the Iron Table will advocate you to get a good support system. And a support system isn't just your friends. Find a licensed specialist. If you got not just because you have some problems, but you have some thoughts and some thoughts that you need help just um, sorting out. We are a strong advocate for mental health. It's not in our community. It's something that we used to shy away from. To be honest, we used to shy away from it. But in times like these, in times before these, in times after these, you're going to need to have that type of support system to maintain while we're on this earth, not only just financially, but mentally and emotionally until that time comes when life here is gone. Well, that's it for the Iron Table. We thank you for sitting with us this long. We look forward to you catching us at our next episode, hopefully sometime this year. All right, fellas, it's been real. Thanks for the time. Thanks for just being who you are and allowing me to be who I am. All right, peace.